So all four of these are really wonderful stories. I'm wondering if you could share a stumbling block or something that happened along the way. I look at Michelle because I remember Michelle is a glamorous gal, but she and Tara were trying on, I think you were trying on tunics in the McDonald's bathroom in Times Square. So it's not always so easy and glamorous. So maybe you could tell a little bit.
Well, that's, you know, we started out with a pattern maker that we had contacted, and she lived in Brooklyn, and we said, you know, where would be a good place to meet? And she goes, how about the McDonald's on 37th and 7th? And I'm like, almost like a vegetarian, like I'm like, that sounds great. You know, we want her to be comfortable, you know, so I didn't want to say, ooh, no, not McDonald's. So, and she goes, there's a second floor. We go into the, you know, we're up in the McDonald's, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to smell like French fries all day. But, you know, we're sitting at the table, and that's where she was comfortable, and so we had probably 5 or 6 meetings in the McDonald's, but she'd come with a sample, and we'd have to try it on. So, you know, go into the bathroom in McDonald's, trying to sample, you know, tying up my tunic, everyone's staring at me. So yeah, it was not, we're going to laugh at this one day. I don't know when that's going to be, but one day we're going to think this is really funny. And, you know, Tara was, you know, yeah, you try it on. You try it on. I'm like, okay. Let me take pictures of this. I'm like, oh no. But it is, and anyway, then we found some other sources, and we don't have to meet in a McDonald's anymore. So, you know. But I forgot to say one thing I wanted to thank Holly about, because one of the great things about Venture's mom is she connects the moms together. So from reading her letter, I think it was just last week, you had someone that does trademarks for lawyers. And everyone, like, our little logo is this mermaid, and it says Tara Michelle in it. People are like, oh my gosh, I love your logo, love your logo. And like, people want to make belts and jewelry out of it. And we're like, oh no, we're in the process of getting it trademarked, which we weren't really. But we were, you know, planning on calling. And anyway, next thing we know, Holly sends one of those things and says, you know, I do trademarking. So now tomorrow, we're having a conference call about trademarking our logo with another Venture mom. So anyway, thank you, Holly.
Well, that's the whole, I love connecting. I love connecting women. I actually met Jill through Michelle and another Venture mom, Rhonda, told me about Jill. So did you have a stumbling block or one of those? A lot of the moms I interview, they get to a point where they think, I can't do this. The mom I'm covering this week, actually, she was at a point she was going to give up. And someone said, you have to meet this girl, Lisa. And for her, it was finding a partner to help her revamp the business and take it out. But many of the moms, it's not always clear sailing. So did you have a point where you're like, just frustrated or you felt overwhelmed, and how did you get through that?
Absolutely, every day. I feel that way every single day. So there's little things, like for example, I'll get an email from somebody and say, so I opened a box of chocolate chips and there were ginger snaps in the chocolate chip. I try to go to my manufacturing facility on our bake days, but I'm not there 24/7, and I guess the girls put some chocolate chips. So it's little things like that. The bigger things is when you start to scale up, all of your working capital goes into, so you'll get a really big order, and you should be like really psyched when you get a big order. But I get a big order, I'm like, oh my God, okay, how am I going to pay for this and keep it rolling, and then wait till I get paid to pay the people I need to pay? So in that scalability, it's a stressful process. And you know, investor money, looking for money, you should always try to get money before you actually need money. Once you need money, then it's kind of too late. Yeah. So, not to be Debbie Downer there, but
that's a good point. That's a very good point, because when we were talking to the trademark lawyer, I said, you know, we're a new business, we're just starting out, we've got a lot of receivables and no money. So she's like, all right, well maybe we can do some, you know, we'll take a couple tunics, you know, we'll cut the price down, do a little bit of trading, because, you know, so we do have a lot of receivables, but as far as money in the bank, well, not a lot. So
well, and I recommend that a lot, because the venture moms, like she's a mom, she gets it, she understands starting a business. They're willing to barter. So if you need a website but you can't hire someone, maybe you've got a friend, a mom who builds websites and she needs your help doing whatever it is you do. You can barter or work out a payment plan. I find that moms are really flexible that way. But one thing about pricing, I do tell my moms, price your product or service up front. As women, sometimes we're shy about saying, this is what we charge, and this is how it works. I take 50% up front. You know, always be clear about your pricing so there's no misunderstanding on the back end when it comes to paying the bills. And don't be shy. Price what you have accordingly. So Barbara, what was your first point where you said this could really be something big? Or did you have a point where you felt you weren't quite sure where you were going?
Yeah, every day is another learning, and I'm still learning. I went for it, and I just thought, you know, if I go in and pitch somebody, all they can say is no to me. Nobody has said no to me. It's been a nice process. Every door I've knocked on, I've been welcomed, and they've always taken a photo to put on their wall. Or my photography is very large scale, so I had to pitch people that had the stores to put these large photos, and they've been a hit. But yes, going and pitching, carrying my work has always been, I tripped and fell one day and smashed a photo. Having the money up front to do it was a little bit, you know, you need to have that in place to get these out. But yeah, I've been very lucky. I've been dealing with a great bunch of stores and a really nice bunch of people that have taken my work and given me the chance, and it's been very good.
Well, you're very passionate about what you do, and I would think when you bring your work in, people can see, that's one of the commonalities. If you're passionate about what you're doing, people recognize that and realize that your heart and soul is found in the photographs that you're doing. So, Anne-Marie and Sibyl, I would think that the tag sale world is an interesting world in finding the furniture.
Well, I think first of all, what I want to rebound on is that the passion is so key. I think for all those businesses, we look at a piece of furniture in a tag sale. So we go on weekends, and sometimes it's really cold, it's rainy, and the kids are yelling in the back of the car, and we have the kids sitting and surrounded by 25 pieces of furniture that we bought along the weekend. Say, you have room, you have room. And the husbands are complaining because we're not home on weekends, so all is fine. The passion that we have when we see a piece of furniture, and we get really excited. It's a piece of crap, sorry to say, but it's like a chair that has better days. But we know that we're going to make something fun with it, and then we work on it, and the finished product is so great, and the reaction that we have from our clients is very overwhelming also. But we do everything ourselves. We refinish the pieces ourselves. We carry them ourselves, so we have a very high chiropractor. We do our website ourselves. We do the marketing ourselves. We have to teach ourselves all those things, and it's sometimes frustrating, but really fun.
You guys get down and dirty. One of the first times I came over to the house, she comes out, she's got the glasses on, her paint clothes, the gloves, she's covered with paint, and I was like, oh my. But the way that you do it, I think, is really interesting. They'll take from the 20s, like a mahogany piece, and you treat it with the sort of the gray, whitewash look, but you do all of that. They are the painters. They're not having someone else do it. The two of them are there with their paint clothes on.
But what actually really motivated us to start our business is, if anyone has ever been to Paris, if you go to the flea market in Paris, you have lots of 18th century reproductions, so Louis XV and Louis XVI pieces that have been made for most of the time. Very rarely they're original, but they have been reproduced in the 19th century. And they were used by the typical type of French wood. So they're not original, they're reproduction from the 19th century. What you find here, a lot of pieces that have been made in the early 20s, so reproduction also of 18th century pieces. The wood is not as noble, and sometimes it's a little shiny and it's a little too dark. And we have no shame, actually, as to refinish and repaint some pieces of furniture, even if it's mahogany or something like that. Some of our clients say, how do you dare do that? And it's...
They are not antiques, I mean, reproduction.
Exactly, and also it's very, I think it's very genetic. The French like to paint furniture. So just like painting it. And so when we realized that we had access to those type of lines of furniture in the US for a lot less, actually, than what you could buy in the Paris flea market, we were actually very surprised, and that's when we really thought that there was a good business.
When I moved to the States as well, I started to decorate my house, to buy some reproductions imported from France through a store in Mamaroneck, and that was beautiful but very, very expensive. And now I'm able to do the same thing, but for much less, which is good.
Which is great.
But I didn't know as well where to go. You know, as Sylvie mentioned, you can go to the diner stores here in Buchanan, but it's also very expensive, and so it was good that we found a way to use this niche in the market to be able to do business.